Hello everyone, and welcome to the game I played on the Pokemon trading card game online. For this match I'm going to be playing an updated version of Yveltal, Garbodor with Darkrai in there. No more Sableye, one of the best cards for this deck that saw a lot of decrease in play as last season waned. So I'm going to be starting off with Yveltal, the non-EX variant, which is a decent start. I'm going first, so I won't be able to attack, unfortunately, but I will play down a Darkrai. It looks like my opponent is playing the exact same deck, so here I'm going to assume that he will also, or may try to set up a Garbodor, in which case my own Garbodor becomes essentially useless. So I'm going to use Ultra Ball and get rid of one of those Trubbish that I play, and bring out a Mewtwo. So attach a Muscle Band onto the active Yveltal N, and then attach a Dark Energy off of this that I get off of this N. But I do actually get an Yveltal EX that I can bench, and I'll also actually I don't do that yet. So I don't actually want to give my opponent the opportunity to attack the Yveltal EX if I were to play it down, since my opponent can attack on his first turn since he's going second. So my opponent will bench a Trubbish and attach a Floatstone, so he is playing Garbodor. And I really don't know why he's benching that. It sort of just becomes a liability when you're playing the mirror match, since abilities don't matter to both parties here. So my opponent played the N. He's going to attach a Dark Energy to his Yveltal, then attach a Muscle Band. So right now we're pretty evenly matched there. Although he does get the first 50 damage off the gate, and I'm starting from behind here. I will attach a DCE onto Mewtwo, play a Startling Megaphone to get rid of the Floatstone and the Muscle Band, bench another Mewtwo. Those may be helpful in this match. And I will Juniper. Unfortunately, I do get rid of the Lysander, which I kind of want to retain for this match, since he did choose to bench something that's such an easy target like Trubbish. And here I'm going to Ultra Ball, getting that Yveltal now. And I do have a second Lysander in this deck, and it's in my hand right now. I will play a Hypnotoxic Laser. I fortunately do get the heads on the sleep flip, so at least I can annoy my opponent, if not keep him asleep. And I will Oblivion Wing for 50 and attach a Dark Energy from the discard pile onto my benched Yveltal EX. So my opponent is actually going to stay asleep, so this is a huge opportunity for me. Unless my opponent can get a switching card, it doesn't look like he'll be able to attack. He actually does attach an energy onto Yveltal, and then he's going to play an N here and put down an Yveltal EX. And we see that my opponent chooses to just end his turn. He really has no choice after just benching that Pokemon. So now going into my turn, I actually have a few options here. I can attach that Muscle Band onto Yveltal EX. I play an N. I will get a DCE off that N, which is quite fortunate, and I'll attach it to Yveltal, and here I can Oblivion Wing for 50 and the knockout, and this will give me the first prize. So my opponent actually succumbs to the poison damage in between turns. So here he's going to send up an Yveltal EX. It has a DCE attached to it, so I'm assuming he can pull off a Darkness Energy somehow, so he'll be able to attack. He does bench a third Yveltal, so now he has 3 on his side and I only have 1. That is quite a bit concerning, but my opponent will end me here down to 5 cards, and he will play a Professor's Letter, so he will get the Darkness Energy needed to be able to pull off an attack this turn, and that is unfortunately going to be enough for the knockout. And he actually attacked me with Y Cyclone, so it's a smart move. he moves a DCE onto his benched Yveltal EX. So I'm going to push my Yveltal EX into the active spot. And here I'm debating whether or not to attach this Darkness Energy onto a Mewtwo or a Darkrai. I'm going to choose the Darkrai just in case I need to attack with it. And I myself will Y-Cyclone here, but I'm actually going to send that DCE onto one of my bench Mewtwo's. So I already have a DCE on one of them. So now both are ready to attack, and I don't think my opponent plays a Mewtwo of his own. So it won't be a straight up Mewtwo war, it'll be a Mewtwo Yveltal war. And Yveltal usually prevails, but Mewtwo is the quicker attacker because of the energy requirements. So my opponent will be able to here get a Darkrai off an Ultra Ball. So he has to retreat as long as he doesn't attach another tool, and that'll be annoying here, making me wish I had Lysander still at my disposal or in hand. I do have one in my deck, but here he might choose to retreat and sacrifice something, or maybe potentially attack with something else. So he's going to retreat into the benched Yveltal EX with a DCE. So that's not quite enough energy to attack, but maybe he can pull something off. And we see that he can. So he's going to energy switch from his Yveltal on the bench to the active, and with that he can either Evil Ball or Y-Cyclone. My guess would be Y-Cyclone would be a better choice here, and my opponent will chorus and attach a Darkness Energy to his benched Yveltal, and then attach a Muscle Band. So already he's going to be pulling off massive amount of damage if he can pull this off, and then for whatever reason he's going to attach the Floatstone onto Garbodor. This will trigger Garbotoxin and turn off all abilities, and the only ability other than Garbotoxin here is Dark Cloak. So that means no Pokemon have free retreat anymore. Well, at least not in the standard way Dark Cloak works. So here my opponent hit me for quite a bit of damage, and I'm going to play Starling Megaphone and then Juniper my hand away. So here I'm fortunate enough to draw that Dowsing Machine that may give me a few possible plays. I will attach a DC onto the active Yveltal first, then I'm going to discard a Darkness Energy and a Floatstone in order to retrieve something from my discarded pile. So as I said earlier, here I think Lysander will be indispensable in this match. So I'm ultimately going to go for it and bring it back, even though I can't play it immediately. It's just going to be nice to have in my back pocket for later. And I will just Hypnotoxic Laser here. And this time around, I don't... I actually do get the Sleep Flip again, so my opponent has not been lucky on that end. And I will Y-Cyclone here for 110 thanks to Muscle Band, and I'll remove that DCE from the active Yveltal. So my opponent again stays asleep, so this is a really bad string of luck for him. I'd hate to be on that receiving end, but that's kind of why it's helpful to play switching cards, and I also think it was a silly mistake for him to activate or try to be activating Garbotoxin in this match. So we see an attachment to Darkrai and then just a pass. So now going into my turn, I can play Lysander or Chorus. I'm actually going to go for Chorus here, drawing 8. I do get my third Yveltal, which I will play here, and I can attach a Darkness Energy onto Darkrai, getting it potentially ready to attack, but then I realize that may not be the best play. But first I will actually play a Pal Pad here, bringing back a Juniper and an N into the deck. That's a neat card to have one of. And I will retreat my active Yveltal, and since Garbotoxin is no longer in effect, that retreat is free. and just push up Mewtwo to take the knockout with. So that will give me a quick knockout, and there's not really a way of him instantly knocking out Mewtwo as it stands right now. So my opponent's going to promote Yveltal. He can get the knockout off of Mewtwo if he were to draw the right combination of cards. He could play Laser, Veer Bank, and a DCE, or potentially a Muscle Band, and get a knockout. But I do actually have a similar combination that I could pull off. I do have Laser and Veer Bank in my hand, so I could potentially get the knockout on one of his EXs on the next turn. But my opponent is taking quite a bit here, inevitably thinking out the possibilities. Since it's quite a tricky situation, he has to take a knockout here, but doing so, he's going to risk the return knockout. And here, if he has a means of getting something other than Mewtwo in the active, a bigger threat like Yveltal, he should take it in order to secure that. So we actually do see a second or a third energy, and it's a DCE. So now that Yveltal can wipe out basically anything on my side of the field, but the question is, what will it be? Since he uses the Lysander, he's actually going to take my full HP, fully powered Yveltal EX and get the knockout on that, dealing a massive 180 damage. So that's quite unfortunate. But I can actually get the return knockout, and with Mewtwo. So with this, I can put down a Veer Bank, City Gym, play a Hypnotoxic Laser. I will deal 140 damage this way, and in between turns, Yveltal will take 30, and this will allow me to take the knockout that way, and essentially wipe out any ready attacker from my opponent's side of the field. He's left with a Darkrai with 1 energy and a heavily damaged Yveltal EX. So now I'm going to take 2 more prizes, leaving me with 1. My opponent is going to send a Darkrai into the active spot, and I'm not sure what play he's going to go for. He has to do something, so he will play a Dowsing Machine, discarding 2 stadiums, it looks like, or 2 supporters or items, I can't really tell, and he's going to go for a Professor's Letter. So this will allow him to get 2 energies, but he has no way of getting both of those energies on Darkrai this turn, which is really what he needs to do. So this is too little, too late for him, but he will be Ultra Balling here for an Yveltal, and I do have that second Lysander in hand, so I can pull off some shenanigans of my own. So he actually does play here a Hypnotoxic Laser, and now that I put a Veer Bank into play, that definitely could help him out, but fortunately he doesn't get the heads on sleep. So I've had the better luck with that. During this turn, I'm going to Lysander up the Yveltal, play the Hypnotoxic Laser, and then just X-Ball for the knockout. I could have just attached to Mewtwo as well. There was multiple ways to take the win here, and I'm choosing to go the Veer Bank route, and my opponent says GG. I hope you guys enjoyed this almost mirror match, slight variations in the decks.